Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Marketing Your Practice podcast, the podcast where I get to simplify marketing for chiropractors so they can have more impact, more income, more reach, more fun in practice. I've got a question for you. Do you ever find yourself getting frustrated because there's not enough people following you? Are you looking at, perhaps the followers of other people online thinking, how do I ever get to that? Today's guest has had over 300 million views on his videos. He now has over 300,000 followers, but it wasn't always the way. In fact, the first 9 months he was on social media, after 9 months working at it, he had 26 followers. And now he is making short videos, short helpful videos in a way that has changed every aspect of his life and his practice. He's reaching more people, he's having more fun, he's making more money than he ever has beforehand. His name is Dr Anis Khalaf, and he's one hell of a nice guy. In today's video, Anis is going to talk to you about the exact strategy that he uses to make his videos, how he comes up with content ideas, how he films them, how he shares them also. And we'll also talk about, importantly, the one thing that I kind of want you to get from this is not just his video strategy, but what was the mindset that he had that kept him going through 9 months of no one showing up as well? That would be a good thing to borrow. I think you're going to love this session. I really did. Let's go and talk with Anis.
Welcome to the Marketing Your Practice podcast, where we guide natural health and wellness experts through the pitfalls of marketing. Each episode, you'll learn simple, effective, easily actionable, and heart-centered marketing strategies. And here's your host, Angus Pyke.
Anis, welcome to the Marketing Your Practice podcast. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic, Dr. Pyke. I'm so excited to be on here with you, and I'm super excited to dive in on the content today.
I'm thrilled to have you on here too. We have a new friendship. I think we probably first met maybe through Clubhouse, which I think we'll talk about afterwards as well. I love your background. You are doing some amazing things on TikTok, you're well into the millions, almost close. Is it 500 million views and stuff that you've had?
Yeah, that number gets so thrown around. The last time I checked, so we have a TikTok account that promotes, health and wellness, and it's called Acupuncture Fit. And our viewership is now almost at 300,000 followers. So we have almost 300,000 followers. And the last time I checked, the view count, I lost count. It's remarkable. We just had a video hit yesterday over 500,000, and it's climbing up to even just a million in like less than 24 hours. So it's been an amazing journey.
The numbers are staggering. We'll talk about those. In today's episode, we're going to talk lots about how to create short, engaging videos that if some of our listeners are interested in having that kind of reach, then today's episode is for them. But before we get into that, let's share a little bit of your background story, what you do, how you got to where you are now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh, Angus. Well, thank you so much for asking. So I'm an acupuncture physician, and I own an integrative practice called Acupuncture Fit in Central Florida. I did my internship with an orthopedic surgeon from China who developed a scalp acupuncture technique, and we work with the symptoms of rare, terminal, and severe cases. And the physician that I learned this technique from is a former orthopedic surgeon from China who is now retired and is teaching and using this technique all over the world. So I'm very blessed and honored to know this technique and really serve patients and in an integrative approach with their medical doctors, with their chiropractors, physical therapists, with traditional Chinese medicine techniques. I firmly believe that traditional Chinese medicine is going to take the world by storm now. I mean, it's one of the most ancient forms of medicine, 5,000-year-old form of medicine. And so we use his technique in practice and online at virtualtcm.com, where we look at body types and we look to improve past, thoughts, traumas, and toxins. I'm also a contributor to Dr. Axe's book called Ancient Remedies, where he dives into our technique and a lot of traditional Chinese medicine. And of course, lastly, kind of and looking at everything. And our biggest success really, I would say second to helping patients, because that's where my heart is really help improve past thoughts, traumas, and toxins with patients, is our TikTok account, specifically with short video, because short video is very, very hot right now, where we literally have almost 300,000 fans of health, where they're getting just valuable tips to help improve their lives and kind of the voids that we're seeing with the current season that we're in globally. I'd also like to admit that I'm the son of a chiropractor. I was adjusted when I was only 20 minutes old. And my father was the first graduating class at Life University in Atlanta, first international student to graduate as well. So I grew up around a holistic environment with table talk of natural healing. And my mom actually fed us organic food all our lives. So I had an exposure to, food is medicine. And my wife as well, she is a huge advocate of natural health, who helps us with our TikTok account as well. So just a little background on ourselves.
We might talk a little bit about your wife later on. I didn't, I of lots of your background I was aware of. I didn't know that your dad was a chiropractor. So fabulous.
Yes.
It is mind-blowing, just 2 decades ago, the only way that you could have had the reach that you're having now is really through major television, and it would have cost a fortune. And you do it all for free, and you can reach all these people, and you can impact all these people as well. It blows my mind of what we can do as well. Why TikTok? Why did you choose that platform as opposed to any of the other social media platforms?
I'm a huge proponent of getting organic reach and paid reach. It's important to have both. And back in the Facebook days, I had many, many mentors who have now completely transformed their lives from getting early in on an app and also using the techniques of the app to help market their practices and get their word heard, right? And as apps develop, they get a little bit more strict on organic content, and they expect people to pay, right? So I promised myself, I'm not going to miss the next app. Well, guess what happened? I ignored Instagram, because that first app was Facebook. I ignored Instagram and I missed that boat again.
Yes.
Right? Welcome to being human. And I'm like, oh man, my reach on Facebook, it's so hard to get organic reach. It's so hard to get organic reach on Instagram. And then comes along TikTok. And I'm like, okay, I have an ear to the ground on TikTok. And it was just amazing how it came around. Is we were back visiting my wife's family, and her niece is on this app like constantly. We're like, well, what's going on? What is this new app? She's like, oh my gosh, all my friends are on it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was my keyword, like looking for somebody, who is, about high school age, middle school age, like what's hot right now, because they know all the technology trends, right? So I started to dive into that app and jumped on. And I said, you know what, I'm going to kind of watch the trend on this app, see what happens. And that listening to like what's the next latest and greatest trend has just really been a blessing in our lives.
There might be lots of practitioners out there, Anis, that were saying, well, TikTok is for kids. It's not where my patients are. How would you answer that?
Well, I have to say, first and foremost, to answer that directly, that is a completely wrong thought process, because as of it was June 2020, there was a study, and back then, and I mean right now, the data is probably even more convincing to say that it's not just teenagers that are on TikTok. That back then, 34% of TikTok users were over the age of 25. So that means right in that time period, even then and now, it's even greater. And there's also a second misconception that you have to dance to crush it on TikTok. And I got to tell you, in all of our successes of all the videos, you'll see me dance twice.
Yes.
The first time, my wife and I were like, let's try this. And the second time she was like, we're never having you dance again at all. And if you look at my videos, the dancing videos actually perform the worst, right?
Yes.
Compared to the non-dancing videos. So, you don't have to be a teenager to crush it on TikTok. There's a huge amount. I mean, over a third of people, all people on TikTok are over the age of 25. So there's definitely an audience there, and you don't have to dance to crush it on TikTok.
I think that's a really important thing, because I want our listeners today, because we will talk about TikTok. A lot of this, when we're talking about short videos, will apply whether you be on Facebook or LinkedIn, YouTube to an extent, maybe Instagram Reels, is that we can run that across. So please don't think for a moment that, hey, I'm not interested in being on TikTok. There's going to be a lot of value in what we talk about today also. I think I would remind also, like when we even think about where Facebook started with some college guys, and the natural way that these platforms grow is it's the kids that know what's kind of happening, and then it tends to be kind of us a little later on that jump on at the end. And Facebook now is, some of its biggest platforms tends to be the baby boomers as well. So content ideas, that's the big challenge. There's two things I want to talk about today is, how do I come up with content ideas for my short videos? Because how long are the videos allowed to be on TikTok?
Well, they're allowed to be, recommended, under a minute.
Yes.
However, the platform is changing, right? Here's the thing: the way the mind is progressing, and the content and the way it is consumed is the younger generations that are coming. They don't want to be sold to. So the first key is going to be to tell, not sell, right? Tell a story, and in order to do that, you want to do that in under a minute. Specifically, we aim to, trying to do videos under 30 seconds, because that's the amount of time that you have for their attention. Do I want to admit that it is unfortunate that the minds of the attention spans are going that way? It is too bad that people need to have that constant, action, right now, but that's really the way the world is. And in order to, captivate and capture somebody's attention, it really needs to be a lot shorter now to get someone to know, like, and trust you, because they're just not going to sit and watch the longer content until that happens.
Yeah. I was having a chat with some of my mastermind practitioners that I coach the other day. We were talking particularly about Instagram Reels and TikTok videos. And I think there is some confusion about where they fit into the relationship cycle. And my metaphor is the TikTok video or the Instagram video is the equivalent of me being in a bar and or a nightclub and seeing somebody across the floor and smiling at them and maybe giving them a wave or a wink or that stage. And if they wave back at me, I don't want to assume that they want to marry me. I don't even want to assume that they want me to buy them a drink. I don't want to assume that they want to go out on a date with me. It's just the first sign of, I'm interested. And it's fabulous, because every relationship has to start with, here's a first sign that I'm interested. And I want to get into later on in our session there to how do we get them from the TikTok platform either over into our website or other spots for longer content and ultimately into our practice, but we'll get that too. But please don't think just because it's a 30 or 15 second, and my experience is almost to some extent, the shorter the better. One message, one clear, and don't take up 30 seconds if you can say it in 15 seconds. What's been your experience with the length of the videos of yours that have done the best?
The length of the videos that I've done the best, like I said, we keep it under a minute, right?
Yes.
And I love that analogy, Angus. That is just absolutely beautiful, because really at the end of the day, you have to remember that social media is still social, right? And if you're listening to this and you're really just getting started, I want to tell you that being genuine in the relationship with your followers is very, very key. Just like Angus was saying at the bar, this is just really a virtual social bar. And if you first meet somebody right away, if they're going to sit there and give you a lecture, for 20 minutes, it's kind of like, whoa, I don't even know you. Like who are you first? So that is beautiful. This is the smile. This is the wave. This is the, if you want to go back to the dating scene, that pickup line that could either make or break.
Yes.
The whole deal. There's something amazingly talented about a pickup line that works. There's something hilarious and really relationship ending in a pickup line, that's kind of miserable. It doesn't work. So
yeah. I'm always very cautious, Anis, to talk about dating because I'm the worst at it. I'm very lucky that I've gone through minimal dates to end up where I am now. So I always like to give a bit of context. Never take dating. I'm assuming that this is how it works. I've never gone into a bar and waved at somebody across there, winked at them, and/or bought them a drink. I'm not sure I've ever tried a pickup line. I don't even have anywhere near the confidence to attempt anything. So there's part of me that would have been very happy to go back into arranged marriages. So just put me together with somebody. Thanks very much. I'll make it work.
Join the club.
Yeah,
Join the club. This is why this is a healthcare conversation and not a dating conversation.
Definitely not. So we've got these short videos. I love, tell, not sell. That will be the name of this episode. I've decided that kind of already there too. What kind of information are you sharing on your TikTok account that's allowing you to kind of share that information? Give me a bit of an outline of the structure. Is there something that you've noticed on the videos of yours that get more views than those that don't?
Absolutely. What's hot right now is what I call edutainment. Okay. That's being entertaining and educational all at the same time. And then jam pack that all in one video. My goodness. I love that you asked that question because a lot of people, ask this question. And I got to tell you, maybe even later on, we can talk about how, really it begins with a personal identity to then make this amazing content. But just to answer that question initially, right off of the bat, really the three types of the videos that we look to create that we're finding perform really well are around edutainment. Okay. So number one, that's videos that are informational. Okay. That's content that aims to educate or inform. Secondly, it's content that's immersive. So we try to take the videos that we make and we immerse our viewers into whatever experience we're trying to get them into, right? And then lastly, it's like trend driven, okay? So we look to other content creators and we see, hey, what's the content that's trending upwards right now, right? What are people watching? What are people buying, right? What's, what are other people doing to really create that viewership that's going from good content to great content? So I would say those are probably like the three greatest like silos to look at as far as what's crushing it on TikTok for us right now.
Can you give me an example of each of those videos that you might have made recently and kind of describe what you spoke about, where you shot it, what were the key ingredients of those videos, of each of an informative, immersive, and a trend-driven video?
Yeah, absolutely. So an informational video that I recently made, and this was actually just made I think about just over 24 hours ago. And you got to remember what I love about short video is that like you can keep trying and trying and trying. And if you keep failing and failing and failing, like I promise you, eventually it'll hit if you take the tips that Angus often teaches on his podcasts, which are just absolutely brilliant when it comes to marketing for professionals. I'm very serious. Listen to what he's saying, okay? Because in that informational video that crushed it, we talked about the elements of finding out someone's body type in traditional Chinese medicine. A lot of what people are interested in is not about necessarily what's going on in your life as a physician or as a business owner. What they're interested in is, what can help them, right? But something new, something fascinating, right? So, there's many, many trends out there when it comes to health and wellness. The key is really what is going to be really turning that head to make people stop the scroll and listen to your content, right? And really listen to you. So what you'll see in that video is that we present something that's something new and totally engaging that's actually 5,000 years old. And that's figuring out what your Chinese medicine body type is. So then we can look at emotions, we can look at exercise, we can look like the benefits of food therapy through that. So what we're doing is we're informing in a fun way with bright, colorful pictures, amazing and captivating texts to stop the scroll, right? So you can look at that video. That's a really, really good video. Another video that we did that has immersive content is really showing the behind the scenes, right? So as a practitioner, the day in, day out, whether you're in marketing for healthcare practitioners or you're actually in clinical work, Like, show people your office, show them the background, show them the instruments you use, show them the tools that you use. I noticed, so much of my practice, we do it day in and day out. It becomes normal to me. But an immersive video or immersive videos that we do on our office, or the instruments and the techniques that we use, really, really get a lot of engagement, views, comments, likes, etc. And then trend driven. Here's the one that it really takes a team. It takes somebody with a mindset that is not so much clinical like mine. So I delegate this a lot to my team. I delegate all of these videos to my team, specifically Gabriella, who heads up all of our strategy. But with this specifically, you need somebody that has an eye for what's trending. And so what I mean by that is like a popular song that's trending right now, with this what dance right now that's going on like this, and they're doing that or whatnot. I mean, again, it doesn't have to be a dance, but it can be the sound. It can be, maybe a topic that's going viral. I remember a trend video that we did that did very, very well was on chlorophyll. All of a sudden, chlorophyll just like exploded, and everybody was wondering what was going on. And my team realized that, after like scrolling through different videos, oh my gosh, chlorophyll is starting to pick up. So, hey, Dr. Anis, like what do you have on chlorophyll? And I said, well, it's green, that promotes liver support in Chinese medicine. It's very, very good to help oxygenate. It's great for recovery. And so we looked at our audience and we said, what, I have a lot of audience that they're athletes, they like recovery, or, they're into a lot of the benefits of chlorophyll. And we did a quick video on that. So, that's trend driven. So it's all about really paying attention and always having a finger on the pulse, or your team having a finger on the pulse as to what's happening. Did that serve, Angus?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's perfect. And so informational, immersive. So the information, I often think about that information. I wonder if this is what you mean as well, that too. Information videos help to get our audience one step closer to the health goal they might be looking for. So they share a little bit of a tidbit of information. Immersive is really behind the scenes. I wonder sometimes if those immersive videos are so popular in some ways because they create great connection, that there's a level of authenticity. I get to kind of see, I've got this front of house who Anis is, and then I can see a bit of who is he behind the scenes, what goes on behind that. And I that kind of fits nicely into that social side of social media there too. And then, the trend driven makes sense as well. What's, in terms of production wise for your videos? I know the answer to this because we've talked about this a lot beforehand, because often it's really easy to get overwhelmed with, what cameras do I need? And then how is it that you make that text go on the screen there too? How do I edit this? And do I need lighting and microphones and all those kind of things? What are the tools that you have used to connect with, over 300,000 people?
So that's a great question. And the beauty about TikTok specifically, and I just love the app because it's very easy and user-friendly when it comes to the editing portion. So with all pun intended, we're talking about short video. Let's hit pause on that for a second. The camera that we use, literally our iPhone.
Yeah.
That's the only camera that we use. The lighting is a ring light. And the microphone is what you're looking at right now.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're on me. Sometimes they're here below the camera, so you don't see them. Or what's a big trend right now in TikTok, you'll see a lot of people like to see somebody holding up the microphone and talking into it like this.
Yes.
So that is all the lighting that we use.
Yeah.
And still use up until now.
So for those of you that are listening to this, microphone wise, Anis has his white iPhone headphones, not the fancy AirPods or AirPods Pro, the wide ones in there, that he will either have them in his ears at different stages, or you can kind of clip the headphones kind of onto your shirt, or sometimes kind of hold it up to your mouth there too. And so I think we can say it's a pretty simple kind of tech setup. The stack from there is easy. And so all the editing is done inside the app, no third-party apps that you use to add text to the screen or do any of those kind of bits and pieces?
It's all edited within the app. And I was quite impressive with the quality of content that was being produced on our page. I decided to make a couple of TikToks on my own that I, of course, ran by my team. And I'm like, hey, does this work? Does this not work? And I just found it just even for myself to be easy. Now, I don't want you doing this. I want you to find somebody else to do it if you can. But if you have a team of one, it's very, very easy to pop text. And I've tried other apps as well to create short video and just the interface. It's not that easy. It's not as fluid, I would say, as TikTok. There's something very magical about the ease of using the app when it comes to text editing and even all of the other applications. So even I can do it.
If you're sharing a video, let's take the chlorophyll video, for instance. Do you script out what you're going to say word for word beforehand? Is it bullet points? How do you remember it? Do you do it in little takes? What's your journey to actually producing the video?
Yeah, that's great. So to create a TikTok 15-second video, we will spend anywhere from an hour to even sometimes 6 to 8 hours to produce, maybe even longer than that, one video.
Wow.
From figuring out what's trending. Correct. It does take a lot of time. And to be successful on this, you have to put in the work. You have to put in the time. So, on average, about 3 to 5 hours to create one video. Okay. So we do a lot of research. There's a lot of internal research that goes into me as my persona per video. There's a lot of research that goes into, hey, what is my ideal avatar or customer who I'm speaking to? And then there is a lot of research that goes into the specific words and the specific titles that, gosh, Angus, we could spend a 6-hour lecture on this. There's also, key things that we look at when it comes to, the different pictures and such that we put on. So there's a lot of time that is spent. So I always say, you don't need the big bucks to get the right equipment. However, you need the time to create great content. Now, I could spend 15 minutes, 45 minutes, or my team could on a video, which we've done before, but those videos always get the lowest amount of views. When we put our heart into the video, even though it's like 15 to 30 to even 60 seconds, those are the videos that produce the best content.
Can you expand a little bit there? One of the things that you said that you need to put some time into is you and your persona there too. What do you mean by that? And what advice would you kind of give to our listeners with regards to them developing who they are and their persona?
Yeah. A big part of success on short video is really establishing your persona or identity, right?
Yep.
So what is this? This is demonstrating a unique talent or skill. Maybe it's educating audiences with, information on something that you know about, right? As health, maybe you're a chiropractor, physical therapist, medical doctor, acupuncture physician, and really getting behind a mission statement on that persona, right? Knowing what your mission is, what drives you, what fuels your passions, right? So once you get a more narrow mission statement about what you believe in what you're, educating your audience is about, then it's helpful to identify you yourself and ask yourself questions. These questions, actually, I'll give you the questions that I visit often, okay, when we're making these videos. So number one, it's what is the talent that you can share? What is the education? What is the skill, right, that you can share with others that you possess? Number two, what is significant about what you're talking about? What kind of impact do you want to make to the person you're talking to? Number three, what is the one point, the one takeaway that you would like the person on the other side of the camera to receive? And then lastly, and this is constant research and it's ever changing, who are your other favorite social media influencers out there, right? What kind of content are they creating? What's their message, right? And how is it in alignment with yours? Is it similar to what you're doing? Who's creating that great content out there? And how are they doing it? Who are they using? What are they talking about? What is the text that they're using? What are the images, what do they look like, right? But you personally, right? Because then what's going to happen, once you have all of those questions down, you're going to know, if you haven't started an account, you're going to know, hey, the type of account you want to start, right? Yep. Is it more business related? Is it health related? Or is it just a personal account, right? And once you have those bases covered, it's just a great foundation to optimize the very best short video content in the world.
Love it. They're powerful questions there too. The other question I often get with regards to social media, and this goes across platforms, and particularly it's questions that I get asked about TikTok as well, is that does this translate into business? At the end of the day, we want to get the phone ringing. It's nice to have thousands of followers, but does it make a difference to my business? So here's my question. How is this showing up in your business at the end of the day? 300,000 followers, loads of success, a video this week that's up towards 500,000 views. What kind of difference has it made to you and your practice?
Oh gosh, life-changing generational differences, if you want to start with the end in mind.
Yeah.
I've been able to now look to move out of my brick and mortar and into a complete virtual program. The amount of impact and value we've been able to give is just been remarkable. And this didn't happen overnight.
No.
But it did happen overnight, Dr. Pyke, and you give a lot of good advice on this, I know, on your podcast, on really figuring out who that ideal avatar or ideal customer is, okay? Because I learned this from one of my mentors, and you know him very well, Dr. David Toohill.
Yeah.
He's always instilled, this into me, that your first 100 followers are really going to be the key to the success on your short video, on your platform, or whatever it is. If it's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it is, virtual or brick and mortar, those first 100 followers are going to be key to the business. Because if you have one follower on social media, guess what? You're an influencer. So what, Dr. Toohill really taught me is that you want to work to build a true circle of people. And that's what we've done, right? And I was really broad with my ideology of this when I first started making videos, because the first 9 months, we only had like 26 followers. And I'm scratching my head. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But until I got clear on my ideal avatar, my ideal customer, my ideal patient who I want to serve, that's when it happened overnight. I was able to become vulnerable with my audience because, I was trying to be perfect in my videos, and really, who can relate to perfection? Right. So once I had the mixture of my ideal avatar, and then knowing that, at the end of the day, I can shoot great content on my iPhone, use these headsets, all of that anxiety just went away, and I could just freely engage and freely grow this audience in such a short amount of time.
It's, I have, and still are on a daily basis of guilty of saying, like, just get me to the results. Look, I hear about the niche thing. I hear about the avatar, like, yeah. Look, I'm a chiropractor. I serve like, if you've got a spine, it's good for you. But that foundation work, as you've talked about, the questions, what kind of skill, talent, education, what do I want to share? What's the impact I want to make? Who do I want to make this impact with? Those are the foundations, and any good business, brick and mortar business, needs to be built on a good foundation there as well. And it just runs through kind of everything from there too. I think that'll be nice for our listeners to hear that, 26 followers at 9 months. And so, if you're struggling out there and things aren't changing, then you're not alone. It can, and not only has this made a difference with regards to the impact that you have with patients, but you now teach a lot of this as well. You have training for other practitioners. Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, this is remarkable, and it's actually brand new. It's something that's ground floor, and we're super excited about this. So what we have is a monthly short video review, and anybody can just DM me TikTok doc, and we'll get you plugged in. On our Instagram channel is probably the best way to reach us for that, at Acupuncture Fit. And in this short video review, we pour into really looking at helping other practitioners make great content, because there's one thing to make good content. There's another thing to make great content. And I have a passion for helping people, right? So I know that if I can get my reach, through doing podcasts like this, and Angus, you're brilliant. We're going to have you on some of these reviews to give some of your strategies. If I can really instill the value of how to, help spread the mission of health through other practitioners, I mean, that's just going to be even more amplified than if I just did it myself. So we have a platform and a program where other physicians, other business owners can bring their short videos and we critique them, and we kind of, help guide them along the way on, hey, what could be better? And also, celebrate the wins, like bring the good videos as well.
Yeah, I have had the pleasure of, working with Anis in many different forms. I'm as part of a mastermind that he helps to lead as well. And the opportunity to work with him, gang, I would really encourage. But one of the other ways that people can kind of dive into and share a lot of your wisdom too, is another new and emerging platform where you're doing some of your great work. And for the life of me now, it's just jumped out of my mind. Help me out, Anis.
Is that Clubhouse?
There we go. Man, there's a bit of vulnerability there where my mind just went blank for a moment there too.
There's so many platforms though. There's so many apps, right?
Yeah. So, because Clubhouse, you again were a very early adopter on Clubhouse. Particularly, you have some amazing rooms where you're just, man, dropping knowledge and sharing great stuff as well. Tell me a little bit more about what got you onto Clubhouse and some of the rooms that you're a part of, and what practitioners might learn if they come and be a part of those.
Yeah, that's a great question. And Clubhouse is an audio app, so it's a whole different angle. And I want to encourage you, because now another app's mentioned, and I can already tell that anybody that's listening might have some anxiety start to rise, oh my gosh, another app, right? So before I dive into that, I just want to encourage you, and I know Angus, you're very, very wise about this on your podcast, and it's you really want to go back to that identity and say, hey, you know what? I'm great at writing. That's where my passion lies, right? So then I would look to writing blogs and staying in your zone of genius there. Or I want to be in the front of the camera, right? So then look to some of the video apps like TikTok, Instagram Reels, right? YouTube Shorts is coming out, the Snapchat channel, or maybe it's I just like to speak, but I necessarily don't want to be on camera, okay? So I absolutely got my flywheel going. It's something that Dr. David Tuho in our mastermind teaches, that flywheel going on a couple of these apps. And once I had my team going and that going, I said, you know what, I've heard about this audio app. And again, it was, I have a finger on the pulse of, what is going on. And it didn't necessarily, and it didn't have to do with a circle of, my family and listening to a bunch of teenagers for this app. But what I started to hear is there's this app that, is going to really give an amplification to the audio world, right? So I was curious about that. I'm like, you know what? This is interesting. So what I did is I took a risk. I pushed past my fear and I downloaded it. Same thing with TikTok. I was so fearful of short video and I just downloaded it. So I tested it. Why not? Let's see what it's about, right? I have a philosophy that I learned also from mentorship, which is start, stop, keep. And I revisit what I need to start doing, what I need to stop doing, and then what I need to keep doing that is moving and driving my passion and mission in the right way. So in the start part, I said, you know what, I'm going to dive into this audio app. And I was actually amazed about the number and the quality of speakers that were out there across so many types of subjects, from health to tech to, philosophy. And it was just a great app to be able to jump on and find a tribe virtually, especially when COVID set in, where we weren't able to, get out there. I was able to do this from the comfort of my home and meet people from all around the world, such as Angus. So, and a kind of like a more broad answer, that's how I found the app, and I actually fell in love with it.
Something's just popped into my mind. I'm fascinated by this. And it is taking a step back, and sorry to kind of jump back and forward there too.
It's great. I love it.
26 followers after 9 months. What was your belief that kept you going? Why did you not, for 9 months and 26 followers, and why not just throw in the towel and say, this doesn't work, TikTok is not for me, or some version of that? What was the story that was going on inside your mind that had you say, keep at it, one more, try this?
I have to go back to something in a philosophy and how I was raised. And that has to do with crushing limiting beliefs that come to my mind. And I haven't always been like this, right? This has been this has been a long journey for me. And I, from a very, very young age, I was instilled the belief of consistency and persistency wins the race. Okay. I can't tell you how many videos we've created that have like not that many views. As a matter of fact, if you go look at our account, in the past, I think it was like about a month, we had a lull like in this. And because of the mindset of being persistent and being consistent and never, ever giving up, we now have a video that's almost hitting 1 million, right? So what really goes on internally for me is that I know that my gift and my talent is in health promotion and saving lives from the inside out. I believe in traditional Chinese medicine. I believe in vitalistic medicine. I believe in the integration of medicine, that the focus needs to be on the human, not the businessman. So it's that I believe system that runs my roots very, very deep. So in a season of 9 months of a drought or of bad storms where I'm not getting any traction, my roots run so deep because I know my identity that tree can't be shaken. So I believed that if somebody else in my space of business, or not in my space of business, if just one other human being can do what they did, and I was watching all of these amazing healthcare professionals crushing it in TikTok, I said, why not me? Right? So it's in the belief in what my mission is, my vision is. And of course, we can get a core values and purpose and premise that kept me strong through those 9 months to say, I believe in myself, because I gave up on that on the other apps, right? I gave up and I tried another app and this app, but I said, you know what? I'm not leaving this because I believe in it. And here we are talking today. Does that serve, Angus?
I think it's quite possibly, for me, it's the most valuable part of our conversation today. Underneath everything that we do is a belief, is a story that either keeps us going or puts the brakes on things and has us stop. And it's easy to come back, and lots of the tactical things that we've talked about today, whether they be informational videos, immersive videos, trend-driven videos, they're, getting really clear in around you and your persona and your audience, all of those kind of things. We can only get through those things. Tony Robbins tells a pretty amazing story about a guy by the name of Mel Fisher. Have you ever heard him tell that story?
I have not.
Mel Fisher is a treasure hunter, right? So off the coast of Florida, down your way. And he got wind of that there was, from 350 odd years beforehand, there was a Spanish ship that sunk off the coast. No one really knew where, but it had $500 million worth of gold in it. Okay. Now, he heard from this from a Spanish-American historian, and he said, Mel, I think it's somewhere kind of here. There were some storms around the time there. Now, Mel, it's such a stunning story. Mel in the early days said, I reckon it was going to take me about 6 months to find this. Okay, he was a chicken farmer from Idaho. It didn't take him 6 months. 11 years in, he still hasn't found it. And I think it's in the 11th year, one night they're out there searching for it. 2 boats, they stay out there for a week or so at a time. And one of the boats started to fill up with water. It was a very slow leak. They didn't know that it was filling up with water. But by the time it had filled up with enough water, it capsized very quickly. And it killed 3 people on his crew, one of which was his son and his daughter-in-law, and another one of their team members. They were family members. So I want you to think for a moment, gang, that you're searching for something 11 years, haven't found it. Now, he has borrowed millions of dollars at this stage from investors, can't find it there too. And he's just lost his son, his daughter-in-law, and a close team family member there too. But he keeps on going again and again. Now, he had a belief. Now, he found it after year 16. Okay, fast forward. I'm going to tell this whole story at length on one of the podcasts. That to year 16, he finally finds it. And there's over $500 million worth of gold there. Every day, Anis, he would get up and he would say, today's the day. We're going to find it. Okay. Tony Robbins, he summarizes this and he says there are 3 core beliefs that you would have to have. He says the first one you'd have to have is the treasure's out there. Now, for us, I think as practitioners, when we think about the treasures out there, it's like, I can reach these people. You've got that belief there that the world needs, vitalistic, holistic, natural healthcare there too. So it has to be the treasures out there too. The treasure, and then the next session is that it's worth it. Like, it'll be worth all of this effort for me to do all of this kind of stuff there too. And then the final belief there is, I can do it. And I think those three things is the treasures out there. It's worth it. Is it now, arguably, what Mel thought is that 16 years and the loss of his son and his daughter was worth it, not just for the treasure, because the interesting thing is most of the treasure that he found, Anis, is in a museum. It's not like he cashed it in and bought Rolls Royces. This is who he is. He's a treasure hunter, okay? And so I think if we can think that again there, the treasure's out there, it's worth it, and I can do it. It can drive us towards almost anything. And listening to you before, it's why I went, I wonder what it was that allowed you to keep on going. And it was your version of treasure's out there, it's worth it, I can do it. Wild, hey?
Oh, that gives me chills. I love that story. It makes me think about prioritizing what you're passionate about. So patients walk through the door, money doesn't. So if you're prioritizing, hey, I want to just make billions of dollars and I'm going to go make content around that, don't get me wrong, the money is very important, but look at what your priorities are, right? Versus, you know what? My priority is my mission to help others achieve health, right? That's what walks through the door. That's what comments. That's what likes. And then the continuity follows. So prioritize. And that's what he did. He prioritized his passions and he was consistent. And that's the same thing with posting. Be consistent with what you post about. If you're listening right now, would you mind if I tell another story? Because I love this. The very first time I wanted to get on video, I got so excited about it. And actually, it wasn't on TikTok. And I knew I wanted to get in video because I did that exercise to figure out, hey, do I want to get on video? Do I want to get on blog? Do I, what's my passion? Is it audio? And I chose video, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go live. And I put up my video. I was in my very first office, small, very little room. And, I was dressed to the nines and I knew the topic I was going to talk about. And I hit record. And I went for 45 minutes live, and I knew I could download it and save that. And, maybe some way, somehow take some time to break it up in other content. And I went to go watch that live. And the whole time my camera was being pointed the other way. Here's the kicker. I looked at the comments and I was like, oh, wow. People are telling me in the comments, like, what are you doing? We can't see you, but we can hear you.
So this was a live video.
This was a live video, and I went live on my practice page where I'm thinking all these people are following me. I didn't have that many followers on the practice page either, but I was so intimidated. But what happened was, because I knew my beliefs, I knew my core values, I knew my passion, I relied on the passion. I said, you know what? I don't really care what these comments are, because there's this button called delete. I don't care that the camera was facing the other way, right? I deleted the video. I set it back out. I turned it the other way. I did the live. I mean, looking back now at the video, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. But you have to start somewhere, right? You have to really push past that fear and just do it. Just like that story, right? So again, be persistent with the content you're posting. Carve out maybe an hour of time out of your week if you're very busy and you're feeling overwhelmed, but you want to do this, because that's what I did in that 1 hour of time. I filmed that first segment and I was like, oh my gosh, I have another patient coming. Let me just film the other segment. I deleted it. I started it. And looking back, I'm so happy I did that. I'm so happy I didn't give up, because at the end of the day, that persistency and that consistency and that story, that beautiful story you just told, paid off.
Yeah. Persistency and consistency. Hey, with that, Anis, thank you so much for today. I've loved this chat. I knew I would as well. I'll make sure I have in the show notes Acupuncture Fit across all of the platforms. I'll have links to all of that as well. Thanks so much for being so generous today. I'm very excited personally to continue to work and mastermind with you as we move forwards, and to see the great growth and impact that you continue to have. So thank you, buddy.
My gosh, Angus, it's my pleasure and it's my honor to be on here with you, and just to be in your presence virtually and to serve your mission, because I know it's in alignment with our mission. And that's really the key to growth is to really, taking our gifts and talents together and really elevating the tides, serving the community, serving these voids that we have now with our, the current season that our world's in, with just eternal good, with love, with health, with healing, with care and compassion, and having fun all at the same time, right? That's what I love about you. Anytime I'm on with you, you have this energy of, it is work what we're doing, but at the end of the day, like, let's have fun.
Yeah. Yes. One of my mantras at the moment, Anis, is what if it were fun? I ask myself that question. What would it look like if it was fun? And it's been serving me very well. So, buddy, I look forward to chatting with you again. There are so many things we didn't cover today. There's clearly a round two, and this coming sometime in the future there too. Until next time, have a brilliant day.
Thanks. You too, Doc.
If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out my Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work with you to help you apply it, implement it, and systemize it. The Community Influencer Group Coaching Program is designed to help you increase your practice income, impact, and enjoyment. Join me over at anguspyke.com/join. That's anguspyke.com/join. I'd love to see you there.